Welcome to Unstoppable, where dreams turn into plans and plans turn into powerful action. Hosted by Paula Swain, financial planner, business owner, grandma, and queen of reinvention. This show is for women ready to stop surviving and start thriving. We'll laugh, we'll learn, and we'll tackle the messy, beautiful, in-between parts of life that no one really talks about, but we all live through. This is Unstoppable.
Hi, and welcome to Unstoppable. I'm Paula Swain, your host and financial planner. I'm very, very excited for our next guest. She is, I don't know, when you meet her, you'll see. Her personality is just electrifying. So we're going to talk today about finding your voice, finding confidence in public speaking, or really just in life in general. So I call her Lady Sarah. I know that's not her real name, but welcome, Lady Sarah.
Thank you, Paula. It's so delightful to be here. Absolutely delightful.
Oh, I
You
just
can call me
love
Lady.
your voice.
Do you know how many people who tell me that? Not my husband, but most people.
I'm sure he does.
And people say to me, how long have you had that accent? And I want to say,
All my life.
All my life. I came to America, I never had an accent, got here, poof, got an accent. Who'd have
What
thought
a
it?
silly question. How long have you had an accent? Oh, I just started it last week.
It's astounding. And then people say, are you putting that on? And the trouble is they don't actually listen to the words, they listen to the accent. And obviously I'm not from around here. I'm from Detroit. No, I'm from London, England. I've been in the US for about 15 years. So loving every moment of it.
When you just said that, they listen to the accent and not the words.
Mm.
I was doing that.
You see
And I'm
people
like,
do that.
Oh, I didn't realize.
And then people stare at me blankly and I think, you didn't hear a word I said. You're just not listening.
Not that they were listening, they're just memorized by your voice. I mean, it is.
I was taught how to speak like this. It's a long story, but
What do you mean you were
elocutionist.
taught?
When I was, it goes back to your confident voice. And you haven't even asked me a question, but I'll tell you this story very briefly. I think I found my passion when I was about 4 or 5. I wanted to write stories. I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to make people laugh with stories. He used to tell me stories about a tiny little bean called Silly Billy Bean. So essentially, I wanted to be an author. And by the time I'd got to the end of what we call primary school in England, you call it elementary school, they discovered I had a learning disorder, which now has the title dyslexia. And I was told that I would really struggle to read and to write. So by the end of middle school, I had a tutor with everything I did. And my mother would drive me into the centre of London to this wonderful woman in this huge, glorious Victorian building who would teach me to speak correctly. Because there was some thought that if I could speak correctly, then I could read and I could write. And if I said the words over and over again, then I'd be able to read and to write. Obviously, times have changed. We've learned a lot more about the processing of the brain, and that was never going to work. But consequently, I speak quite well. I've had elocution lessons.
Yeah, and I know you've watched my show, and we're going to go to work on me because I'm like my thoughts are not catching up to my mouth, or vice versa, one of the two. So being polished in speaking can help you in all aspects of your life.
Absolutely. I mean, I've coached ladies and gents, from politicians, folk who just literally want to do one keynote. They've got a big organization, a development course, and they have to speak, and I go through their script with them. I've coached wonderful women who've been badly abused to get their story out there. That was very humbling for me. And then, some people just working on their elevator pitch. Literally in business, they just need to stand up there in a networking event and they say, Sarah, I thought I was having a heart attack. My heart's racing. And I'm going, oh, let's hope you're not. I think we'll call it stage fright. Comics. I coach a lot of people in entertainment, and they need to practice and rehearse. People think you can get up there and wing it. I have a few funny stories about that, but
I wing it a lot.
But the difference will be huge. But how often, Paula, do you listen to yourself? How often do you watch?
I watch every show.
Right.
So I know that I can see where I stumbled with my words or tried to gather my thoughts. Mm-hmm. And anticipating this show and meeting you, it's always been on the back of my mind that I should be polished. Just a little, because I still want to keep my...
Oh, you want to be authentic? Absolutely you do. You want to be you. People want to know Paula. They want to see you on screen. But there are tips and tricks to, for instance, to slow the heart rate. Well, so you don't have that stage fright. There are ways of getting more confident on camera, or not to let your mouth run away with you. You let your brain catch up. There are definite tips and tricks.
There's my mouth, there's my brain.
Absolutely. You got to catch them up.
That's so funny. I'm going to be thinking about that one for a while. Well, how do you, so what is one tip first? Not just for me, but like in general, what would be the first thing you would say for someone who's trying to find their own voice?
Oh gosh, top tip. So there's two things. The first is smile. I mean, you're looking at me right now, and the camera might have zoomed in, I don't know, but you have a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you.
And what do we say to babies? Or when we're doing a selfie, or we're a family photo, we say smile, because that's when you look your best. And people forget to smile. They absolutely
Well, you
forget.
do, because you're so afraid of what's going on in here and what's going to come out that you're sometimes deer in a headlight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So sometimes we just need to stop and smile. And that way also our brain can catch up with our mouth, particularly for women. We just keep talking. We babbling along. And we need to just stop.
So what's the second thing?
Pause. It's okay to have a pause. Notice that right there.
I think sometimes when you think about pausing, especially I think when women have a conversation, is if you pause, somebody's going to jump in before you're finished with your thought.
Yeah.
And then you have to say, wait, I wasn't done.
Done.
So I think pause goes both ways.
I think it does, but I think if you're having a conversation that's of an equal conversation, then the recipient, the person listening, knows that you're trying to
Okay,
to
Lady
register.
Sarah, we're going. Not a lot of people have great listening skills.
No,
Because they're
very
so
true.
excited to say what they have to
And
say.
women are the worst. We just keep talking. Think of the coffee mornings, your book groups, whatever it is. We just chat. It's, dare I say, the men who will stand back and be the silent ones. And often, well, let's not get into the battle of different sexes, but the bottom line is we need to know when to pause. We need to know when to stop.
I think that would help me. I smile enough. I mean, I'm always smiling. But the pause is probably where I would find that my brain would catch up.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we actually know what we do wrong. We know our tics, as it were. There's a great organisation called Toastmasters where you can go along and join. And here I am talking my way out of a business. But Toastmasters is great in the fact that there's loads of them across the globe. And they have a thing called the R counter who will tick off your R's and your ums and your pauses. And how often do you stop talking? It's a great organisation.
Oh, God, I don't want to know the answer. Mine would be, okay, so.
So is the worst, because we elongate it. So, just be quiet.
You're asking a lot.
You're going to think
There's
about
no
it.
way that I'm going to work with you. You're going to totally make me look at myself.
But it's good, isn't it? We are in an incredibly privileged situation. The sheer fact that we're here at 12:30 at I shouldn't say the time, but during the day, and we have time to think about how we speak. There are people out there, very different worlds. And the more I travel, the more I move around not only the US, but around the globe, you realise this is a time to work on yourself, but also a time to give back as well. I'm very hot on the giving back aspect.
Yeah, I'm working a lot on myself. I have been for years, and I'm always giving back.
Yeah.
Always giving back.
Because we're in a nice situation.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Okay, so.
You can't remember the questions you wanted to ask me, can you?
I just thought it. Okay, so. No, well, first of all, these are nothing like the questions I resent to you. But I find that always happens when we do these because we get into such a groove of a conversation that we don't go quite off script. But when I think about, like when I was in high school, we all had to take a speech class. And you had to, prep your speech and then give it to the front of the class. I couldn't do that. I couldn't stop laughing. Like I would just stood up there and laughed and laughed. And he's like, come on, Paula, get a grip. And I'm like, I can't get a grip. I can't do this. And so I had to give the speech to the back of everybody's heads. And I was fine. As long as they couldn't see me, I was fine. And of course, I've graduated from that. But I'm sure I wasn't the only person who's ever felt that way. So how do you work with someone to overcome?
People have all sorts of nervous tics, for want of a better word. I was literally working with a group of university college students last week talking about speech. They had to give their end of term presentation and talking them through various stages of the presentation. Some of them were shy, insecure, introverts, whatever term you'd like. I mean, there are 3 different terms I just gave there, but that feeling of, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to present to this group. And so with folk like that, you take them slowly through each stage of their presentation, what they're trying to achieve, what they're frightened of. For folk like you're saying, who'd giggle or mess around, there is a moment where you have to just get a grip. I work with my husband on stage. We have a double act, and every Saturday night we're doing a magic dinner show. And there are times he genuinely makes me laugh. And we've got 50, 60 people at the magic soiree watching us. And I lose it, absolutely. And I know the next part of the script. And he will go off on a tangent, and I'm following him on this tangent. And I can't keep a straight face. But you have to learn how to adapt with that. You have to learn how to stop, to pause, bring yourself together.
So what I heard is that introverted, shy, or don't want to be the center of attention. But could that be like for, somebody who's at home doesn't have a great childhood or something, now they're in speech class and they have to be in the center of attention and they just want to, like I call it turtling, like I just want to crawl into my shell because I don't want anybody to notice me.
I don't think it's necessarily about home life. I think it's
No?
about you as a person. I mean, there's no doubt about it that nurture plays a huge part on who we are and how we present ourselves to the world. However, there are some folk who are just genuinely shy. And they don't want to be out there. The other side of that is you've got the extroverts and you want to calm them down. And you want to say, okay, breathe.
Yeah.
Stop talking. And we had one of those in the class last week. And he just babbled, and he was funny, and he was great, and he was a great personality. But he had no idea about the question he was trying to answer because he was just going off on a tangent. Great skill if you're a politician.
They say something but say nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
In my industry, we often have to go to seminars or workshops, and we get those people who are talking about investment returns and the market, and all you keep hearing is blah, 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 blah. And I know
I'm
it's
going
gotta
to sleep already.
I know it's got to be hard to make that interesting.
Interesting.
But really, can you try?
So I had a wonderful engineer that I worked with earlier in the year who knew everything there was about bridges. I know nothing about bridges. This person knew bridges, and they were off to do a keynote down south in Texas somewhere. So we went through the script, and I said, this is fascinating, really, but I'm bored to tears, and there's no point. Where are we going with this talk?
What did you say? Oh, his poor ego must have been crushed.
Well, obviously I said it nicer than that over some time. But the bottom line is, if you're doing a keynote or you're going to speak, look at your script. Think what you're going to say.
But for him, it probably was, had so much knowledge that he wanted to share.
Absolutely. And we want to get it out there.
Yeah, but didn't know how or what's too much.
So the next top tip would be know your audience. And I think that's really important. Now, if he's speaking to a room of engineers, that's great. And they all want to know about bridges. Super. There's a whole little bridge committee. Well, a bit like your financial committee.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
Terribly exciting. Anyway, but actually, when you're speaking to a bigger group, you have to take them through stages. You take them on a journey. You grab them at the beginning so they're really interested. And don't forget, the summing up at the end is vital. How do you finish off? How do you finish off your podcast with your 3 words? You want to bring them back to the beginning, to the excitement of why you're here, what you're doing. Oh, this is great. I'm loving this. Okay, what else should we talk about? You're thinking now. I've got you on a total tangent. The guy, yeah, okay, next.
Next.
It's finding your confident voice. That's what it is. That's what we're here to do.
But how do you take someone like him? How did you get him from that? Was it just the content, or did you have to work on his overall delivery?
Yes. So if I'm working with a corporate client or even a big corporation, I will take them on a journey. So we'll look at everything external. What are we trying to achieve? What are we trying to say in these presentations? And then we'll break down the talks into literally, in its simplest form, a beginning, middle, and an end. Where do we want to be at the end? And so, yes, it's a journey. Sorry, I've said that about 3 times.
No, that's okay. But because he was working through you and delivered his keynote, we're just going to assume he did extremely well.
Extremely.
Yeah.
And in fact, most times I love to go and see folk, or I'll get a recording, because I'm so excited. I want you to exceed out there. I want you to be better than you could ever imagine. You're going to just talk in front of a whole group of people. It's a bit like our show on a Saturday night. I want people to genuinely laugh and come away. You want to give back. Whatever you're talking about, finances, bridges.
I think magic show sounds so much better.
Well, it's fun, but it's a journey.
So after he did his keynote, right? And we're going to go with he did it really well. Do you work with people to continue that? So I would imagine that what you worked with him helped him for the keynote, but does it help him in everyday life or everyday work?
Yes, I think some things resonate. Tomorrow when you're having coffee with your girlfriends, you're going to be thinking, or you're in the office, you'll be thinking, am I talking too long on this phone call? Am I listening to the person on the other end? Did I pause? So I think these things resonate with you, just like any life coach. I wouldn't dream of putting myself in the same bracket as the life coach, but those things stay with you. Your counselor, what she said to you, your therapist, whatever, will stay with you. So even in speech, those tips, those tricks will stay with you. And in the case of most clients, I will have a feedback session at the end to work out where they've gone, what they're happy about, what they enjoyed, what they thought was a disaster.
So do most people, is it just the practice?
Sometimes,
But it has to be that, but it also has to be the delivery, right?
yes, absolutely. And again, it's knowing your audience. Have they been there for 3 hours and they really want to go to the bathroom? In which case, keep your section short. I'm aware that on a Saturday night, how long have they been there? For the late crowd, are they a little tipsy maybe? How long can we keep them going for? I'm a stickler on timekeeping. If we're going to do an hour, we're doing an hour, only an hour.
That is so important.
It's
Nothing
so-
worse than when someone says they're going to speak for 45 minutes and you're looking at your watch, like you're 15 minutes over. Now I've totally tuned you out. I just want you to stop talking.
And I find that incredibly rude, actually.
I do
I've
too.
given my time to listen to you, and you can't even use my time efficiently. I also think it's the sign of not a particularly good speaker. They've gone on too long. They haven't rehearsed. They don't know what they're going to say. There should be a timer that says you're going to wrap up 5 minutes before. You've got 3 minutes, 2 minutes. I did a thing for the Troy Chamber of Commerce, and I'm very hot on having a timer there so that I can see when I've got to finish. And if I'm moderating an event, then we need to know when we're doing the Q&As and when we're actually physically leaving the room.
Yeah,
So,
I find that.
very important.
I think the only thing that throws me off when because I do a lot of workshops,
Mm-hmm.
is handling the questions. Like a lot of people attend these things and they're hungry for the knowledge.
Yep.
But they want to make it all about them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just had this happen at a workshop a couple weeks ago in Brooklyn, or not Brooklyn, Brighton. Can't even remember.
It's very close, Brooklyn, Brighton.
BR.
Begins with, yeah,
BR,
right.
yeah.
I mean, there was my dyslexic brain going on.
So I don't even know why I said Brooklyn, but and she just kept making it about herself. And I could see the frustration. First, she was dragging the whole thing out. And then, two, I could see the frustration on the other women who weren't able maybe to ask their question because she didn't like
Hold
go
it,
like
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
She just went right out with her question. And I had to politely stop her. I just kept going every time. We can talk about that after.
Yeah.
That's personal for you. We can talk about that after. And then finally she stopped. But that made my presentation go over 10 minutes.
Times. So there's many ways of dealing with Q&As. Far too many to discuss on this this event. What is this? Episode. There we go. Thank you. Gosh, the words really came out there. I have moderated a few health panels out of state, not here in Michigan, and women and health panels are the worst because they want to make it personal. And there is a time to say, this is a really interesting point, but we need to discuss this later. You also need to make sure when you're moderating an event that you're bringing in all of your panelists and you have time for the Q&A. And that's why timing is so vital, absolutely vital.
I'm not a big fan of panelists because I find I've attended a couple of events where the moderator's asking, so there's three of us sitting here, right? Moderator asks you this question, then goes to this person and asks the same question, then goes to this person and asks them the same question. First person, of course, they answer it wonderfully. Now the second person's like, oh, I was going to say that, so now I have to figure out what I'm going to say. And then the third person is like, really just wants to go, ditto.
No, and you're absolutely right. And the issue there would be your moderator.
Yeah. I'm just like, why are you doing this?
Because you want to change the question slightly. You also need to know the background of your panelist. You know, this is a great question for this woman or person, but you need to change it slightly for that person. And if you've done your research ahead of time and you've worked out your questions and you've worked out who your panelists are and you've worked out who's the extrovert of the group, who's going to talk continuously, and you want to bring this panelist in, you know, it can be a fantastic event. But your moderator's got to be good.
Oh, yes. Some of them are not very good at all.
Well, because, again, people think it's easy. They think to give a keynote is easy. I want to do a TED talk. I want to do a TEDx talk. And I hear that all the time.
Have you done one?
No, but I've coached people who have done them. And I know many performers who have. I have a few magician friends. In fact, a friend of mine, Joe Chasney, recently did one. Because there are TEDs all over the place and TEDx's all over the place. Yeah, it's preparing yourself and getting yourself ready. Anyway, the point is that actually to put a 20-minute speech together takes time, takes planning. You need to know what you're going to say.
And you know what? I'm a winger. I just wing everything. And somebody said that to me the other day. They're like, I wish I could be more like you and that you can wing it. And, you know, I was telling you about that event I had in Brighton. Right in the middle of it, technology just quit. And I'm like, okay, it's time to wing it. There's winging it. And in the back of your mind, though, before you started, you knew what you were going to talk about. You knew the event, you knew where you were. But it did go out of my head for a moment. Because, you know, when you're doing a presentation, the slide is like something that
prompts you.
Right. So I know I missed a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. Plus, the women interrupted me every 5 minutes. But I got enough information out there.
Right.
But it was like, okay, you know, what are you going to do? And you're right. If you're not prepped, and I've been prepped because I do that seminar all the time. Yeah. Could deliver it for you right now if I wanted to, but
please don't. Not if it's about finance. Honestly, we haven't got long. Sorry. No, I'm terribly excited.
Wow. I guess I won't invite you to one of my events.
No, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Finance, very exciting. It's very important. Ladies and gentlemen watching, people out there, finances, talk to this woman.
I forgot what I was going to say.
I don't know. I've lost the plot now, really.
Oh, I think it was because I've known the material well, I could just go for it or wing it. It's if you walked in not knowing.
And it's also
the
being
material.
a professional, isn't it? You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to adapt. Whatever your career choice is, you need to be able to pivot. I've certainly done that many times in my life. I would say that I'm on my 5th career. I've had to pivot. Times have changed. That's a different discussion. But to wing it and be able to hold the audience's attention and really grasp it and really take them on that journey with you, that takes some skill. And look, you've obviously got it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I didn't interview anybody who attended the event, but...
Do you want the video?
Well, it might help just to see.
No video. No video.
Destroy all evidence.
All
whatsoever.
evidence is gone.
You obviously love doing this, though, interviewing. I was saying to you earlier, we ran a podcast during COVID, and it was having a cup of tea. We called it Tea and Troy, and we interviewed different people. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do, to hear their story, to hear where they've come from, what they've done. Great.
And, you know, I take something from every single interview, and it becomes a part of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from you, I will have taken pause.
That's it. That's all she's going to say now.
Pause. Pause.
There is something about listening as well. Really listening to the
I had to
question.
learn to listen because with what I do, I'm working with women or couples and about their goals and dreams for retirement or whatever it is. It has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with me. It has to do with theirs. And if you don't listen, you can't understand what it is that they truly want. And through listening too, as I can also see or hear what they're not saying.
Yeah. Yep. And it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to stop and say, talk me through that. I didn't quite get that. I think that's very important as well.
That's emotional maturity.
Dun, dun, dun. Look at us, mature women.
So here. I wouldn't go that far. Me, for anyone.
Oh, I'm particularly mature.
And I'm going to go with the fact that I think you can be super silly.
You got to be able to do that when you stand on stage.
Yeah, I want to come see one of your shows. I know that. I think I would be all right. When I was preparing for this, and yes, I prepared, even though my questions went totally.
Yeah, I was really excited about the questions you had. But
do you want me to read them?
No, it's too late now.
Yes, because I can see our timer is going off. I was telling my son about you, and I'm like, this woman is fantastic. I mean, you just gotta. And I was on your website. I'm like, let's just listen to her. And I played the video of you talking to elementary kids, and I think you were reading a book.
I've written some children's books.
Yeah.
My
granddaughter was there. Like within a second, she's like, "What's that, Grandma?" And she was like, just sat there.
Oh, had you told me, I would have brought the books.
Oh, I did.
I wrote some children's books on the back of my father's stories about Silly Billy Bean. Yeah, delicious, delectable sauce.
So we're going to have to get off of here, although I can do this for hours and hours. Tell people how to get a hold of you, not just for polishing their and building their confidence when it comes to public speaking, but also about your books and the magic soiree.
Soiree. I know.
I can't say that word.
Yeah. Calling a business the Magic Soiree. So you will find the Magic Soiree, SOIREE.com for the Saturday night shows held in Troy, although we tour all over the place and do a lot of corporates, but yeah, the Magic Soiree. And then Sarah Harfield, which is my name. I know, who'd have
You have a name?
Sarah Harfield, Harfield. Very easy.
I like Lady Sarah. That's how I Google you, Lady Sarah.
Oh, there you go. There is actually a Lady Sarah who is the Queen's niece. There
No.
is an original.
No, you're an original. There's nobody like you.
Thank you. Well, any Googling, do. Keep going. I like the Googling. And if you want to talk about, finding your confident voice, buy me a cup of tea and I'll tell you about it.
Yeah. I will be calling you because like we were talking before, there's a new journey that I'm stepping into.
Exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah,
Watch this lady. She's quite something.
Thank you. And I need to polish.
You're perfect just as you are.
I know.
Wow. Time to go, boys and girls.
You guys can't hear, but Lady Sarah and I can hear. The control room is cracking up.
Unbelievable. Right. Lovely to see you all. Cheerio. Let's go.
Okay. This has been an exciting episode of Unstoppable, where we dream, grow, and thrive. So I've had a blast. I hope that you enjoyed it too. Thank you, Lady Sarah. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Thanks for watching Unstoppable. Do you have a question for Paula? Send it our way. To schedule a one-on-one consultation, give us a call. Unstoppable is brought to you by Paula Swain and the Financial Center for Women. Dream, grow, thrive.